Good evening from the Dungeon of Dim Lighting. We are back with This Week in College Football. And boy, what a fucking week. And you're not wrong, my friend. That's why I have it there, man. That's how I watched football growing up. Whole lot of ESPN, a whole lot of ABC. So good. Anyway, my name is Red. I'm the son of a bitch that's been captaining this ship right into the ocean. To my I guess on your screen right is a good friend of the channel, one of the earlier subscribers. He's been hanging around with us for over a year now. Akbar fan, welcome back to the show. Good to see you, buddy.
No problem, Red. Nice to always be on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We got we had a hell of a weekend, didn't we?
Got quite the
Holy
itinerary to
shit.
go through.
Yeah, we got quite the list. And just a reminder, as you guys, as we're doing this stream tonight, feel free to chat about whatever in the chat, and I'll be able to bring it up on stream. But if you're listening to this after we went live, just kick back, relax, enjoy it. It's going to be a listening experience mainly. But yeah, we're all going to we're going to get there. We're going to get there. But first, for personal reasons, it's time for this week's edition of Self-Reflection. Akbar, go. We need to talk about your Sooners. Because holy shit, they beat up on some endangered owls. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, they beat up on Owls, but boy did it look pretty much terrible, to be honest. Third down conversion, crap. Offensive line looks struggling. Third and fourth string receivers are bad, and Jackson Arnold had like one of the worst QBR ratings in the SEC this week. Even teams that lost had better teams. Even some of the few that lost had better QBRs. So I'm just hoping that's just them trying to get the rust off and all that stuff. If Temple just somehow had a pretty decent defensive line that was causing some troubles, but it remains to be seen. But thankfully they played their schedule. They put it to where they're at least playing some less than, they're not playing the power teams, but I think it would have been just a bit nicer if they had been playing Maine for their first game instead of waiting for the last.
I'm going to stop you right there, man. I got a fucking question for you. You're complaining about their performance. They beat the ever-loving snot out of them, man. Did we watch the same game?
Yes, we did. They do have they lead the league in turnovers with 6 right now. Nope. The closest team to them is a few teams that have got 3. The defense looks great. The defense looks pretty strong, though. It was a little disappointing to let them. That Temple scored 3. It's just like, we let him on the board. We got to fix that.
Oh, what a damn shame! You let a poor endangered owl score 3 fucking points after flying south for the fall from Philadelphia. Boo fucking who?
Never mind. I'm not making that joke. There was a joke, but I'm gonna keep that one to myself.
Good call. Okay, well, let's go ahead and I'm going to do my own little bit of self-reflection because everybody wants to pick a bone at Ohio State, so I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. Y'all need to settle the fuck down. Okay? Settle the fuck down about Ohio State. We're fine. We had 1 quarter of rust. 1 quarter of rust. There's no preseason in college. There's no you get fall camp, you get summer camp, that's it. Jeremiah Smith is going to be a Heisman. That is my honest fucking belief there. He's going to be a Heisman winner at some point. He went the fuck off. And yeah, they played Akron, so I'm taking it with a pinch of salt, right? He called his own shot. There was a clip uploaded to Instagram earlier today where he was pointing at the corner of the end zone and saying, yeah, I'm going to catch my first touchdown right there, right at that spot. And sure enough, he fucking did. So they looked good. Will Howard looked all right. I think that as the season goes on, we will be able to really get an idea of where they're going to be as we get into tougher opponents. We're going to have a really good idea where this team is by the end of, by the end of September, going into October, because we got Oregon coming up. That is going to be the fucking game of the season, I think. But we will see, and we'll get to that. A couple of comments here we're going to take real fast. Y'all still want Clemson and Florida State?
Well, I don't know about Clemson, but definitely not Florida State.
Oh, God.
Play them, maybe.
By the way, you sound like a true SEC fan. Bar. Congratulations. He's got his big boy pants, ladies and gentlemen. He's grown up so fast from his Big 12 roots to an SEC diehard.
Well, don't Alabama fans complain when they're like the first week they give up points or stuff. They do that same. It's just like
Alabama put up 63 on Western Kentucky. Y'all gave up a field goal at Temple. What's the priorities here, right? What is the priorities? Let's see. What else was there? We need someone to replace Vandy for a beatdown, so probably. Okay. Nerd Stop. Good to see you again, bud. I told FSU fans not to overlook anyone. After all the bullshit in the offseason, everyone in the ACC wants a piece of Florida State. You lose their arguably two easiest conference games. You deserve it, Florida State. And with that, Florida State, what the fuck?
If it was just that Georgia Tech game, it's just like, okay, the problem was they kept it close, but they let them drive down the field and let them get that field goal. It happens. And they were playing in Ireland and all that stuff. It happens. That's just like, okay, that was a close game and all that stuff. But then just immediately turn around and let Bill O'Brien coached Boston College to absolutely embarrass you at your home opener. What the heck happened to this team? God, I think who was their quarterback last year that got hurt?
Jordan Travis.
I think Jordan Travis' injury just basically cursed him fully. It wasn't just simply him getting injured. It's like he freaking just jinxed the whole franchise for the whole program for gosh knows how long it's going to be.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be dead ass with y'all. When my buddy Helv commented a moment ago saying that they're in Latin hell. No, they're just in hell. They're seated right at the altar of Satan next to evil mustache man who shall not be named because I'm not getting demonetized for this live stream. So that is the first thing, okay? They are in the lowest level of hell. We just passed Labor Day, and their season is effectively over. There's no way you're winning the ACC now, barring a complete conference-wide collapse. I don't know what else there is to say. Everybody in here is just ganging up on Florida State. I can't even read all the goddamn comments right now. Like, holy shit. It literally everyone's giving some Georgia Tech love out there, and they honestly they do deserve it. They came out, they took care of business against Georgia Southern at home, which honestly could have been a trap game for them, and they did extremely well. And it like the Ireland game, I made my opinions known, so I'm not going to totally rehash them. If you want the full details, just go watch the fucking videos. But the long and the short of it is this: the one thing that blows me the fuck away when it comes to Florida State is just the level of talent that this team has on paper, and they can't fucking get it done. I mean, somebody made a good comparison comparing these guys to LSU when they were on their massive hangover after winning the national title in 20.
Well, at least LSU had a decent excuse. The fact that pretty much everybody graduated.
Yeah, they won the national title. Joe Burrow had gone to Cincinnati to get his ACL torn apart, and it would later go to a Super Bowl the following season because of logic. But
you're gonna have to watch us on Sunday to see the team on Sundays to see the team we fielded last year.
Yeah, for real. Like, there's no Florida State. If you're asking me where I think Florida State goes from here, I could honestly see them completely collapsing to 500 or even missing out on the bowls entirely. And I'll tell you why. I will tell you why, because I still got my preview magazine, and it's full of the gluttonous, like, Florida State top four. Hang on. I saw something when I was going back through this morning before I went into work my real job, because I do work a real job. I'm broke. And yeah, Florida State was projected to be number 3 seed in the college football playoff for Athlon Sports. If you remember that, that is how far the mighty have fallen.
There
They
was
projected to be number 3.
I saw a clip on Twitter, somebody posting like a Twitter space after the Boston College game. Like a FSU fan was saying, we did not. I mean, it's proven we did not belong in the playoff in the first place. And it's just like, yeah, kind of. I mean, the ACC is pretty dang weak. It's like, then again, when you got to think about it, what conference, what of these Power 4 conferences, which ones aren't like have a bunch of weak ones, you know? And if like last year, the Big Ten, it's literally just what? Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. That's really it.
Yeah.
Iowa wasn't doing jack.
Yeah, for real. For real. It was.
At least they finally scored.
Oh shit! I see that now. Salty Wings and Ads. They spent $12 million in the NIL just to be 0-2. Holy fucking shit! That's how much they spent. I mean, I can't talk shit. Ohio State spent $20 million. My God.
DJ, you put the fries in the bag.
How much of that is a failure of recruiting as opposed to a failure of the player development? I've yet to understand how those two balance each other out. Recruiting is not NIL. NIL is picking out players from the portal that are not getting playing time elsewhere for various reasons. That's the first thing, okay? Second thing, if it was a development issue, then everybody would still be saying that DJU is a project quarterback. He's not a project quarterback. For fuck's sake, he's a failed quarterback.
He's graduating this year, ain't
he? Yeah, no, he's not. He's still got another year of eligibility after this, and I can guarantee you he ain't going to the NFL with this draft stock right now. Ain't no fucking way. He's going to have to hit the road one more time and go play for fucking Appalachia State or some shit to get his stock back. I'm not joking about that either. Oh, my God.
It'd be kind of insane if Florida State just turned around and ran the table. That would be kind of insane. Just like, what the heck?
Islamic Red and Fisherman Akbar are classic duo. Okay, listen, I know that the backwards hat was hard to see the bill, but I am that is a random fucking comment, cynical. Damn. Yeah. Oh, don't, boy.
What the f was that?
And they cut to the guys in the van a few hours later, dancing in the moonlight, everybody's.
We're already off the rails. Fuck. I thought you were supposed to be normal.
That's from the movie Four Lions. I would recommend watching it. It's a great black comedy.
I've never seen that, actually.
It's got the guy that played I forget the actor's name. He was in Rogue One. He was the transport pilot that got tagged along. And then it also has the guy that plays Nandor on What We Do in the Shadows. There's a beeping ghost on the front lawn.
Wow. Well, I think that the only way to really summarize the fall of Florida State is just you look at both games, the summary of both performances. That's not something you can just look at and say, oh, well, it's the early season. You've played 2 games now against ACC conference opponents.
And that's still carrying over from the absolute massacre from wait, maybe I shouldn't use that term in regards to what they are. They got absolutely demolished by Georgia. That was for sure.
Yeah, they got Georgia Tech. Yeah, I mean, if you want to know roster,
regular Georgia, the bowl game. And then they turn around.
To answer your question, Nerd Stop, Brock Glenn is their backup quarterback. He played in the Orange Bowl and he played in the ACC Championship, and he was very mid. So I think that's honestly what they got to go with. DJ was a subpar Pac-12 quarterback that got lucky to be an ACC quarterback twice and still can't play in a major conference. Oh, my God. You guys are just going fucking off tonight. The fall shouldn't have been too ridiculous. Norval had one good season and everybody left. Yeah, but still, like, this is bad. This is so bad. Like, I don't know what else.
I wasn't expecting this. I was expecting them to maybe lose a few games down the road. I was not expecting it to start this early.
I mean, it's not like when DJU went to Oregon State, they played nobody. They still had they were in the last season of the original Pac-12. You know, they played good teams. He did good. He had a good season in their system. And then he just fucked on off to what was supposed to be greener pastures.
But who did he play for last year?
Oregon State.
Oh.
Whose seat is hotter, Billy or Norval? We're going to talk about Miami here in a little bit. We'll probably talk about Billy Napier as well in the meantime.
I can think of 3 people that are probably on the hot seat right now, for sure.
Yeah, hell, I got that clip. I just haven't uploaded it to my StreamYard yet. Sorry, dude. But yeah. God, you guys are just thank you guys so much tonight. This is fucking never forget a man he bet. Oh yeah, this son of a bitch. I saw this too. Never forget a man had bet he would eat dog shit if FSU lost and bailed like FSU's D on run.
Oh yeah,
God
the guy dude shut his whole account down.
God damn, that's fucking awesome. I love it. Yeah, he ought to run. He ought to fucking run. His breath is gonna be smelling like shit.
Did the internet track him down? Did the internet find out who he was? Yeah,
they're looking. He's still looking. He went real deep into the bunker. How does Norval not develop a quarterback after Jordan Travis? Simple. Brock Glenn is not great. He's not great. We got a lot of questions tonight, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to try to get to them all. If I miss anything, I apologize in advance. We will get to Michigan versus Texas here later on in the show, so sit tight for that. Wow, you guys are crazy tonight. Thank you. So, God, what else is there to say besides just what the fuck? I think, honestly, Florida State, you look at the rest of their schedule, there's no chance they make the ACC title now. No fucking chance. The good news for them, they are on a bye week this week. They're resting. They fucking need it. And then they got a home game against Memphis. So if there is a game that can get your team back on track, it's going to be that game. I
still say they're not. Like I said, if they run the table, they might still be able to make it in, depending on how things go.
Okay, let me break it down to you real quick. Okay, the rest of their schedule, they still got to play Miami in Miami. Okay, that's probably going to be a loss. They got to play Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
Oof.
Probably going to be a loss. They're losing one of those games. It's not happening, man. This isn't the year.
No,
not the
probably
year.
Not, but
yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, crazier things have happened in college football.
Yeah, I know, but man.
Didn't Tennessee a few years ago start off like really rough, and then they managed to at least crank out a decent season?
What?
Didn't Tennessee like start off 0-2 like some years back, and then they managed to kind of make a decent recovery?
Yeah, they had a slow start, and then they had a fast finish, but I don't see that happening here, because in the case of Miami and Notre Dame, that's your Ole Miss and Alabama right there at Florida State. I'm sorry. You know, it's donezo. Or Georgia and Alabama. My bad. So, I think we have sufficiently buried Florida State. I've spent 2 videos and now 15 minutes, along with about 10 to 15 people in chat, absolutely dragging these fuckers through the mud. So, wow. You guys are great. Thank you so much. We're going to get to the next topic here, and we'll continue to come back to it as needed. That's for sure. So make sure you guys stick around. We're going to be here for a while. We need to talk about another ACC team that's gotten absolutely pantsed. Georgia absolutely blasted the fuck out of Clemson. Like, holy fucking Christ. Where do you begin here when you talk about Clemson? I mean, props to Georgia. It's still Georgia. Kirby Smart is still absolutely
the revenge tour.
Yeah, the revenge tour is fucking. Yeah, everyone was thinking Florida State was going to run the revenge tour. Little did they know that Georgia was lurking in the shadows with the bowl of oranges. Very, very hungry.
No. I originally was thinking it was going to be Florida State and Georgia both running revenge tours, and it's like it was going to lead to a absolute cataclysmic. I can't speak English.
Cataclysmic.
Just
there you go.
Just it would be one of the greatest games ever to just see both of them play like the championship or something, and just like the absolute that ain't happening.
Nope, that's definitely not going to fucking happen. Holy goddamn no. Yeah.
I mean, Georgia started off a bit slow though. If you watch that game, it wasn't until like the second half when they really started like absolutely starting to.
Yeah, I mean it was 6-0 at the half. It was 6-0 at the half. That's for sure.
And that was on 2 field goals.
Yeah. Georgia kicked 2 field goals in the second quarter. It was a real slow start for them in the second quarter, and then the gloves came off in the third and the fourth, and they just slapped them upside the head the rest of the game. I mean, I knew Clemson was going to lose the game coming in. Hey, nerd, stop. Hey, buddy, thanks for the 5. Appreciate you, man. Dabo before the game. It doesn't matter what's on the scoreboard. It matters how hard you play. Like, bro, all that matters is the fucking scoreboard.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's true. I knew going into this game, Clemson was probably going to lose. Like, there was no doubt in my mind. Georgia's too good. They're still pretty much.
They're playing in Georgia.
They're playing in Atlanta. It's a de facto home game.
Why on earth does it? Hang on 1 second. I gotta say this. Why the heck do teams keep agreeing to play the dang Mercedes-Benz Dome? It's just like you're playing literally a glorified Georgia home game.
Well, you got to think Georgia doesn't play there every year. They're just there very often because it's also where the SEC championship is. Okay.
Yeah, but I was also saying like didn't they host Oregon last year?
I can't remember. The beatdown was probably so bad and brutal that I don't fucking remember it.
Frankly. Oh yeah, it was, if I recall.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think right now when it comes to Clemson, I think you and I talked about it quick for a moment before the stream started. Dabo, it's a simple question for Dabo Swinney. Do you adapt or do you die? The non-NIL route is not working. It works if you develop talent, but when that talent is getting poached by $1 million NIL offers or 6 figures at minimum to other programs across the country, how the fuck do you compete? As good as Dabo Swinney is, and he is a hell of a coach, I will respect that man as a coach. He's not Nick Saban. He doesn't have the veneration that Nick Saban has. He's not as strong of a recruiter as Nick Saban was. He doesn't have as much lineage as Nick Saban does. And that alone doesn't keep players there. You could have the best fucking facilities in the ACC, which they do. You can have the most NIL money in the ACC, which I think they do next to Florida State. And clearly it's not enough. You know, you gotta, I'm not saying they need to go all in on NIL because as we see with Florida State, you go all in on NIL, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to have last year where everybody just clicks and you go 13-0 and get demolished in an Orange Bowl for your troubles, or you fall apart 2 weeks in to a bunch of nerds in Atlanta and a bunch of Catholics in Boston. So like it's pretty straight up. Yeah, like for real.
When I was doing all my hand motions and all that stuff,
I know there's other people commenting too, but this one caught my eye. Bullshit stuff. I refuse to believe Georgia Tech is outspending Clemson in NIL. No goddamn way.
Well, wait, you got to remember for a second though, Georgia Tech is like the premier technical college in the country.
I'm aware, but that doesn't mean they're getting millions and millions of dollars in NIL just like that. They haven't won a national championship in decades in football.
I was also going to. When I was doing all my hand motions a minute ago, I was just like waiting for you to pause for a second so I could start speaking.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't want to interrupt. But I was just like, they got no transfers from the portal. If I heard that right, they got nobody from the portal. It's just Dabo. He just is doing it like the old style of he just keeps recruiting. You know, just he didn't take like any talent from the portal or anything.
The only other teams that have not taken talent from the portal are service academies for obvious reasons. No other football team in FBS that is not Army, Navy, or Air Force is not using the portal in some capacity. So the stuff, I don't know what the message is that Clemson is trying to send here. I think they just keep reinforcing the fact that the portal is modern free agency for college football now, and you got to use it. You have to use it. No matter what happens this season, it is clear that Clemson cannot compete with the big boys right now, and they're only a few years removed from winning a national championship.
Yeah. What was that one comment somebody said about Nick and Coach K?
That was I'll hold back up real quick. And like I said, guys, feel free, please keep commenting in the chat. We will get to as many of them as possible. Y'all are popping off tonight, and I love it. Thank you so much. But Cynical said Nick and Coach K both changed with the times and won Dabo. He's gonna get kicked by the SEC and the one good ACC team.
Pardon me. I definitely can probably think that of Coach K, but Nick, what weren't the recent rumors before Nick announced his retirement that he was like struggling with the whole transfer portal and all that stuff or something? Like he just wasn't able to kind of.
It was definitely getting difficult for Saban from what we were hearing.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Saban for a second, the whole game day of. Have you seen the clip of like Pat McAfee with like his shirt off or something?
I know.
Saban's like, "Oh my god, I gave up. I gave up coaching
like
for
a
this."
virgin that stepped into a strip club for the first time. That's exactly what Nick Saban looked like.
He's gonna be back to coaching next year at this rate.
No, I honestly think he enjoys it. Name one time Nick Saban ever let loose at Alabama. Name one time. He's not let loose in decades coaching.
Well, it would have been fine if not for Pat McAfee. I think it would have been fine if not for
people can love and hate that son of a bitch all they want. He's great for game day. In my opinion, when Lee Corso finally retires, he needs to be the one that takes over the mascot headgear. He's got to, in my opinion. He's made game days so much better. But we're getting off topic.
We also got to mention something there. Okay. Yeah, we're going to mention Lee Corso in a few minutes because there's a few things we got to mention with him.
Yeah, we need to stay on. We need to stay on this right now. Otherwise, people are going to be like, guys, come on.
Yeah. So, anyways, Clemson, obviously, they're struggling. For all we know, they might also end up like Florida State, and like they either have a barely winning record or they freaking end up, going below 500.
I don't think that's going to happen.
And
by the way, Coach Key at Georgia Tech, he is legit. Also, shout out to their defensive coordinator, too, for being able to finding the secret to shutting down Florida State. Boston College took that film and fucking ran it nonstop. Good Lord. That whoever that defensive coordinator was, Tyler something, he's gonna be a head coach next season. I guarantee it.
Depends on who's gonna take him though.
A head coach somewhere. I don't think the NFL is gonna come call him, but maybe a group of 5 team, maybe the Sun Belt Conference will come calling. Maybe the MAC. UMass might need a new head coach.
And as for Georgia, what is there really else to say? They're number 1 in the nation for a reason.
Thank you. Yeah,
they're on the dang warpath of revenge of being left out last year, which that honestly surprised me. I would have thought they would have just dropped them to 4. Like I think what wasn't the. I'm trying to remember. Somebody was a number 1 seed and then they lost and they ended up being a 4 seed and like I forget which team that was, but I'm honestly surprised they dropped them that low.
Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say that Georgia is Buster Faulkner might get pushed for Santucci though at Georgia Tech. Okay, we'll see what happens. Damn, we got about 20 people watching the stream. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you all being here tonight. We're gonna move on now to another team that shocked us all. Not that Georgia shocked us, but Vanderbilt. Anchor down because everybody threw their anchors down out of their vehicles and were like, what the actual fuck? Like, wait a damn minute.
That whole game was a whole WTF because
that game was a hallucination. I refuse to believe it was real.
They were up 17-0.
I bet 5. I had an 8-game parlay going on Saturday. And one of those 8 games was Vanderbilt losing to Virginia Tech. 7 of those games I was right, but Vanderbilt cost me $90 fucking dollars.
I
Bastards.
honestly thought that of all the SEC teams, the only one that was going to lose was Vanderbilt. Because I'm like, you're playing Virginia Tech. They're a decent school and all that stuff, but it's just like I was looking at the score. I'm like, it's 17-0. What the heck, Virginia Tech? and yet Vanderbilt nearly Vanderbilt it because basically
Vanderbilted, yeah.
It then turn around and then suddenly it's 2020 in the fourth quarter already.
The finish of that game was great. I love the finish. The Sandman did not enter. You're goddamn right.
He missed the field goal. They could have won it without even having to go to overtime. They managed to drive down the field. They managed to drive down the field. They got into good field goal range, and the dude kicks it wide right.
I know. What the fuck? They tried to revert to their old ways, and yet Virginia Tech just hokied the game away. They gobbled it up. I mean, I don't have any more clever puns besides that. They just choked. They fucking choked. In a half-built stadium, they choked the game away.
I honestly don't know what to think about Vanderbilt, though. That's the thing.
I
don't know if this was like a fluke win, if like they just got kind of lucky for this day, and then just like give it a couple of weeks, and then they'll end up going 0-8 in the conference like usual.
Possibly. Salty Wing and As makes a good point. Drones, one of their star players, got hurt too. Yeah, he got hurt during the game. That's for sure.
Towards the end.
Yeah, but he might have gotten hurt towards the end of the game. But that doesn't excuse the first 3.5 quarters. Kurzov thinks it's a fluke win. I don't know how. Like, no one was paying any goddamn attention to Vanderbilt. Fuck, I know.
Of course, so he called it.
Anuj, you do the hokey chokey and you take the L or something like that. That's what it's all about. They teach it in all the schools to all the kids in Virginia near Blacksburg. Oh shit, breaking news. LSU lost their star running back to an ACL tear today in practice. Wait a minute, was that Walker? Don't tell me that was Walker. I swear to God. I mean, oh my God, that would have been that's it can't get worse for LSU right now. Nerd Stop with the $2. Mizzou's schedule beefed up. Buffalo, BC, Vandy. Wait a damn minute.
You gotta be kidding me. They get to play.
Come on, you did not waste $2 telling me that. God damn.
Missouri's gonna play. Wait, I gotta check this out. I gotta check out Missouri's schedule.
Oh, John Emery Jr. is the one got hurt. Allen. Oh, he was like third on their depth chart when they started on Sunday night. But damn, he was still playing really good too. It's a shame. But his schedule beefed up. What the fuck was that? Oh, Nerd Stop. Thank you for the $2, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, they got to play Boston College.
Clizzard. Dude.
I'm David Otten.
What the f*** was that?
He's clearly referring to the British Broadcasting Company.
Yeah, clearly it's the British Broadcasting Company, very famous for airing their college football in England. Let's continue. So, Vanderbilt, I think the biggest thing to take away from this game is not so much that Vanderbilt is suddenly going to be a force in the SEC this year. It's still Vanderbilt. Let's not forget they are not an athletic school. Okay?
No, they don't. They just somehow manage to stick around. They just like show up and like we'll take the TV money and all that stuff. We'll take our yearly paycheck and all that stuff.
They're the school that's there to help the SEC raise their academic standards. That's it. And basketball and baseball. But the point is, it's more of an indictment against Virginia Tech. You look at Virginia Tech and what they got coming up. They got some gimmies. Okay. Marshall, they're playing this Saturday afternoon on the CW. Virginia Tech's got to play a game on the road at Old Dominion. Who the fuck let that schedule happen? They got a home game against Rutgers, and then they got to go to Miami.
You brought up Old Dominion. A quick mention: South Carolina nearly blew it with them.
I know. What the fuck?
We nearly got an Appalachia State.
Yeah. TriStar with $2. I'm ready for Big 8 football between Colorado and Nebraska. That's going to be a fun game on Saturday. It's going to be, I think that's going to be the game that Matt Rule is either going to make or break his coaching career at Nebraska. If he can knock off Prime and get a game back from Colorado, I think that's going to kind of set the stage for Nebraska a little bit. And Anuj, you're right. Old Dominion did beat the Virginia Tech a few years back. Rutgers is going to be a tough game too because they got to stop that running back Managai.
I wanted to say one last thing for a second.
Sure.
The ACC, boy, they really struggled this week and all that stuff.
Well,
look at North Carolina State. They nearly lost to Western Carolina. Western Carolina played them pretty good for about 3 quarters, was beating them for about 3 quarters.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
North Carolina nearly loses to Minnesota if Minnesota didn't freaking shank it, and then basically the Big Ten would have been all perfect.
Yeah.
Really, the only thing I can see is I think the only good team from the ACC this year is literally Miami.
Well, we will see. We'll get to that. But yeah, thank you guys for the donations tonight. You're all being really generous. Thank you so much for that. Keep the comments coming. I'll get to as many as I can. TriStar, speak of the devil, and he will appear. And Georgia Tech is making the SEC look good. Okay. I guess I'm not quite sure how. Is it just because they're beating up on Florida State? Because Florida State got beat the fuck up by Georgia. Elaborate in the chat. I don't quite understand.
It used to be
the
SEC.
last thing I was going to mention. What the fuck was I going to say? What was I say? Virginia Tech, by and large, they're just in a lot of shit. I think they'll go 500. I think they'll get back to a bowl game this year. The rest of their schedule is nothing too crazy. They got a home game against Georgia Tech, speaking of the devil, and Clemson. That's going to be some tough ones to put away, but the rest of their schedule should be fairly winnable. And with that, we are going to continue to move forward. And Alan, you're going to mention that son of a bitch on my stream now, Joe Hendry and Illogical. Good Lord. And TriStar with $2 again. We still claim Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had your chance.
That's fair. That's fucking fair. That's very fucking fair. Play Roblox college football on stream. I don't play Roblox. I'm sorry. I wish. I'm not a Roblox guy. I'll play college football 25 on stream. I thought I was going to take Akron to the Natty. I thought I was. And then I ran to Cincinnati. And then they ran away with the Natty. I'm just kidding. They didn't. Oklahoma slaughtered Oregon. All right. Next topic.
Wait.
And
Oklahoma won in your
They won the national title in my last season, yeah. Congratulations, Akbar. We're moving on to Miami because the U Part 3. If you missed it, Miami is not terrible. They can beat an SEC team that went 5-7 last year.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Miami actually really good? Or is it more Florida is just absolutely terrible now? Because for one thing's for certain, Billy Napier, he's gone. He's going to be gone this season. I saw a trend of all the rivalry games that Billy Napier has coached. They've only won 1 of like 10 rivalry games, and it was somehow that crazy win against Tennessee last year, which I don't know how they pulled that one off.
I genuinely do not think
Arkansas got their first ever win in the swamp under his watch. I'm honestly surprised he still had a job after last season's collapse.
I know. TriStar with the 5. It was great to see the Big East in action between Penn State and West Virginia.
Yo, TriStar, you might send some of that cash my way with how much you're donating tonight.
TriStar, really appreciate the donations, man. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Every little dollar goes back into the channel. or it might go to help paying a bill, depending on how much I get. But thank you very much for your donations tonight. But yeah, that was good. That was actually cool to see. We're gonna veer right off the road here for a second because I do want to mention it's awesome to see these old rivalries again. Colorado against Nebraska, old Big 12 rivalry, fucking great when you can see it. Penn State against West Virginia, classic Big East rivalry. Even a rivalry back when they were both independents. Great to see it. I mean, shit, West Virginia played Pitt last year, and we all saw the classic chant, "Eat shit, Pitt," all night long. That was so good. And I would love to see Notre Dame get to go back and play another set of games against Ohio State in the near future, but I know that's not going to happen.
Oh,
Alabama's coming to Columbus in about 5 years, by the way. So,
that'd be a good game.
anyway, yeah.
Okay,
it's
so quick
gonna
question.
Yeah.
What does it mean by the U Part 3? I'm sorry that
So the name of the Miami Dynasty in the 80s into the early 90s, they were known as the U.
Right, okay. Yeah, no, I see what
And
you're
then
saying.
the U Part 2 is
Was
the
the early
dynasty
2000s.
of the early 2000s when they won national titles in
I remember watching some of those games growing up.
Yeah, exactly. And it ended when they lost to Ohio State in the Natty. Sorry about the pass interference flag, by the way. We didn't pay the ref. This could potentially be the start of the third U. Shut up. Okay, we don't talk about that shit in Columbus. I'm in Cincinnati, I guess, but still, I want to go back home sometime. I want to go to a Buckeye game this season. Let me have it. TriStar with the 2 again. Arkansas and Texas will decide the Southwest Conference. Oh no, that's a throwback. Oh god, they do play each other this year. Don't think that's why Arkansas left. They just want to get away from Texas. Oh man, thank you.
Literally, it
TriStar,
was
for
just
the
them and then a
donations.
bunch of Texas teams.
Yeah, pretty much. They were the outlier back in the old Southwest Conference. But getting back to Miami, I don't believe in Mario Cristobal at all. I really don't.
No. After that Georgia Tech loss, the freaking all you had to do
Before
was
Georgia Tech, I mean, you saw the Oregon video I made. For God's sake, he's never been that good.
I honestly think, like I said a bit earlier, I think it was more of just Florida is bad than it is Miami good. I think Miami's got a decent team. I think they're definitely the strongest competitors to win the ACC this season, but I don't think that Florida game. I don't think that. I think that was just more of Miami's capitalizing than actually like they're dominant.
Yeah,
I just think Florida's just completely collapsed.
These first week games are always tough to really get a full wind up of
Exactly.
what you're looking at for the whole season. We can
Told me about
speculate.
Oklahoma earlier.
Yeah, I mean, we can speculate and we can shit on and we can hype up all these teams that performed so well in certain games and all that other shit. But the fact remains, we just don't have a full idea of what we're talking about quite yet. What I will say is this: when it comes to Miami, nobody just walks into the swamp on opening week and beats them up. Okay? Nobody just walks into Miami or walks into Gainesville and beats the piss out of the Gators. It just doesn't happen. Right?
Not from what I've seen.
No. That's a tough ass environment to play in. So the fact that they were able to just kind of mosey on in, take care of business, that's big old fucking props to the Hurricanes. And not only that, but dominate and just obliterate and embarrass and destroy. It's just fucking insane. TriStar coming back at it again, just throwing money tonight. MLD and South Carolina are out of the ACC contention. Bro, now you're just shit posting.
I mean, thanks for the cash, but
yeah, now he's just shit posting. That's fucking. What you gonna say next? USC and Oregon are gonna be in the Pac-12 championship. That was the worst loss to Florida and the Swamp, point-wise, in Florida history, I believe. Yeah, Maryland, that's right.
I'm
It's
telling
got to
you,
be up there. It's got to be up there.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, we're gonna get a live stream in a couple of weeks of Billy Napier being fed to actual gators.
I honestly think that he's going to be fired in no time. I think that the odds that that son of a bitch survives this season intact are slim to none at the rate that we're going at. They got to play some tough games this season. I don't see Napier keeping his job.
They have the toughest schedule this season.
They do.
They played like 8 when the top 25 first came out. They played 8 of them because they had like 6 ranked SEC opponents, and then they also had Miami and Florida State. Now, obviously, that one's dropped considerably now. But that being said, though, you still have to go through 6 SEC opponents that are definitely going to want to beat up on you. Take advantage. We need that easy.
Definitely.
We need that easy road win.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's Florida's just screwed. I think everybody's going to realize that pretty goddamn quick in terms of, as they go through the rest of the season. I could easily see them finishing 5-7, missing another bowl game, and then he's just going to go floating down the river. I would say
that's going to be crazy for Florida. If Florida somehow pulls off the whole, they get to 5 wins fairly early on, and then they lose every remaining game, and then pretty much like what they did last year. It's just like they only had to win 1 game to get to a bowl, and they just couldn't get that win after 4 straight weeks.
Yeah. TriStar coming back at it with another bit of $2. Oklahoma, Nebraska will decide the Big 8. That's big news. That's huge news. Thank you for informing me. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the donation so much. Thank you, TriStar.
Wait, was A&M in the SWAC too?
The Southwest Conference. Yeah, they were. It was A&M, Baylor, TCU, SMU, Texas Tech, Houston, Arkansas. Yeah. All right.
Okay, then. Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes, sir, indeed. The Aggies were converted to losers by Catholics on Saturday night. Yeah, that was. Yeah. I am famous on this channel for being a staunch. Almost forgot about Rice. Thank you, TriStar. A staunch Notre Dame hater. And I shit you not, I'm glad I was proven wrong, and I'm also very annoyed because I was in the middle of making a Notre Dame Legacy of Failure video. And now it's like, do I need to hold it? Because it's going to age like milk?
I was wanting A&M to win so bad.
Me too, man. It would have made my job a hell of a lot easier. Timing would have been superb.
It would have been fun because it's just like, congratulations, Notre Dame. You're once again early on. You're blown to absolute heaven with the hype, and then boom, we come crashing down. You fall like Lucifer.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Notre Dame, I watched the game. I wasn't bored by it, Mats. I understand that game was probably a little slower than some of us are used to watching.
Yeah.
A&M's used to playing a high-pace, fast-moving style of football. Notre Dame is Midwest power football. And we'll get to USC, LSU here in a little bit. But basically, when it comes to that game, God, what was the name of the quarterback again? I had it, but I completely lost it.
Notre Dame or Texas A&M's?
Notre Dame.
Because I think Texas A&M was Whitgard or something.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Notre Dame quarterback, the one that transferred from Duke.
Ooh.
I'll pull it up real quick. I'm blanking. There we go. Riley Leonard. That was right. Riley Leonard. He looked really good. He looked really goddamn good during the game. Let me pull up his stats actually, and I'll compare with you here. So, where was that at? It's a professional show, folks. It's a professional show.
Oh crap!
Let me take a look here. Sorry, there we go. 18 for 30, 158 yards, no touchdowns, QBR 66.7, but he did look pretty good on TV. The name of the game that night was just absolutely it was the defense mainly shutting down A&M, holding them in check. And then it was Notre Dame's offense kind of slowly and decisively marching down the field to get those points. A&M, on the other hand, Wigman looked like trash. He threw 2 interceptions during the game.
The second interception he threw, I don't know what the heck he was thinking with that one.
I don't know.
He just threw it like straight forward, and like it was low, and the guy was just able to get underneath it just enough.
TriStar with 2 more. You do a video on the trials of TN 99 now, Tennessee 99 now. I'm going to need to do some research on that. I'm not familiar with it, but I will add it to my ever-growing list of topics.
I think he's talking about like Tennessee post national title.
Post national title.
Yeah, because they won it in '98. They won the '98 season, didn't they?
It was they won the BCS in '98. So that's yeah.
98. Technically, it was like after January 1st, 1999, right?
Yeah.
So the '98 season. Because I'm trying to think who won after them. Michigan.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the Bowl Alliance you're thinking of. Michigan won the AP in '98. Yeah. Tennessee won the BCS in '99. And my voice is fading. Yeah, I'll definitely do some research on that. That's another topic I can add in here as well. That's for sure. Appreciate that, TriStar. Thank you very much for your donations.
No, it was Florida State. It was Florida State. Then Oklahoma in 2000, then Miami in 2001, and then Ohio State 2002.
Okay, yeah. There you go. All right, so getting back to the Aggies. I think Notre Dame overall in this game showed a lot of people that they can actually fucking play. Kyle Field is another one of those environments where it doesn't matter if the team is 11-0 or 0-11. That last game, they're going to be just as loud and just as boisterous, and it's going to be a tough-ass environment to play in. Unless
you drive them out early.
Yeah.
And anyways, I don't know really much what to say about A&M. I mean, it was Mike Elko's first game. We still got to remain to see on that one. So that's definitely a case of that's just a wait and see. I mean, hopefully for A&M fans that Mike proves himself to be at least somewhat better than Jimbo was. I mean, like Jimbo, like he kept getting all that recruiting classes and couldn't do jack with it. Literally, he basically it looked like it proved that Jameis Winston was the one carrying him, kind of like how Tom Brady was carrying Belichick.
Well, yeah, kind of, but that's the thing when it comes to A&M. We got to remember here, it's the first season of basically a rebuild. They lost a ton of depth to the transfer portal after they paid Jimbo Fisher $75 million to leave town. They're gonna be so-so this year. I don't think anybody in their right mind thought they were going to be contenders.
A lot of people thought they were going to win, though. And again, Lee Corso comes out in the leprechaun outfit.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people thought that they were going to wipe the floor with Notre Dame. And I thought that too, because I figure Notre Dame is always fraudulent. Their history, especially over the last, 10 to 15 years, they've always been, very vulnerable to collapse in big-time pressure situations. Granted, they don't have – this game was probably – a great test, but I'm not going to say it was the biggest test you could have. We'll have to wait and see. And when it comes to A&M, they always have a top class, yet they don't do shit. You're right. When it comes to A&M, they act and walk and talk like they are national champions, but they are never even in the fucking playoff. What the fuck? Like Aggie Land, you have a beautiful stadium in Kyle Field. You renovated that son of a bitch into a cathedral of football. There are no national championships in there to justify that good of a stadium.
No conference championships either. They couldn't even win the dang division.
No, they couldn't win the division. Sure, she can't win the SEC. I don't know when the last time they won a conference title in football, frankly. We're going to go back to probably the Southwest Conference days.
I'm quickly looking that up. Give me 10 seconds.
A&M had SMU 80s Oil's money. Now can't do anything because NIL booming there. You're right. Because they have all these rich-ass donors donating all this money in. Anjou, is Mike Elko an upgrade a head coach?
They only won one Big 12 championship in 1998, and then they had 17 Southwest championships.
Okay, fair enough. I think he is. Jimbo Fisher was not the answer for A&M. His coaching proved that.
They basically got him because he had gotten Florida State that national title.
Well, Mike Elko came from Duke.
Yeah, because the donors didn't want Stoops.
Jimbo. You were talking about Jimbo with the national title of Florida State. You're right. They got Elko from Duke because he took a Duke program that does not give a flying fuck about football and turned them into a big thorn in the side for the ACC. They even knocked off Clemson opening week last season. They were the big upset to start the year in the ACC. So, I think he's definitely an upgrade, but the expectations are so fucking artificially high.
They expect him to basically be winning the SEC next year at the very least.
That he's going to be out in 2 years before he can even get a team around him that'll do shit.
And I think part of that is just the fact that Jimbo was there for so long, SEC shorts kept making the jokes listen, when Alabama, Florida, and A&M were visiting death because they lost in week 2 or something, or they were already thinking their seasons were already over. But basically, it's just listen, we just got to get Jimbo to get his system in place. It's been 6 years, really? That long? Wow! Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it's honestly hard to believe how long he was there.
I know he should have been.
Yeah, Anjou, they had Johnny Football under center, and Florida had Tim Tebow. They both played quarterback really well and flopped in the pros. There's not much of a comparison here.
Yeah, part of me.
Notre Dame had Brady Quinn.
Your name tree did his
whole. Had a fake girlfriend.
Your name tree did his whole NFC video yesterday or the day before, and then part of me was just looking at that. It's just oh yeah, Jerry Jones wanted to get Johnny Manziel. It's shoot, man. Partially kind of wonder what if on that one. It's just do you think if Manziel would have been slightly better in Dallas or something, or do you think Jerry could have been able to maybe rein him in a bit more or something, or do you think it was just probably going to be the same as it was in
Johnny Football was just Johnny Football. He partied, he played football. Nowhere in there is studying a playbook.
That's true.
That's what screwed him over. He never studied a playbook. He just went. He didn't even hardly practice. He would show up on Saturday, get in the locker room, go on the field, play football, go back and party. That's all he fucking did. I saw that on Told on Netflix. And he tried to pull that shit in the NFL, and it obviously didn't fucking work.
What was that? Oh, who was the guy the Raiders got? That was one of the biggest draft busts ever.
You're gonna have to be more specific. You have any idea how little that narrows it down?
No, the Raiders, they had the number 1 draft pick in the late 2000, the late 2007.
I know who you're talking about. The name escapes me. He played for LSU, I think. It was Jamarcus Russell. There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, I remember the story. They gave him tapes to say he watched them, but they gave him blank tapes apparently, and then he comes back and said, "Yeah, I watched the footage and all that stuff," and it's just bull crap. You never even looked at them because they were blank tapes.
Yeah, that's how you know you're fucked. That is how you know. In college, you could have somebody come in like a Johnny Football and sling out, gun out against these, football teams, because a lot of these guys are students. They can't devote 100% of their time to just football. They got to go to class too for their degrees if they're going to get any. So it was just, he would just show up, party, go play football, show up, party, go play football. That was it. He played football hungover, for fuck's sake.
A&M they can't find a quarterback after Manziel. They can't find their guy.
Yeah, they can't find a guy, and it's going to be even harder now in the NIL era because everyone that's where the fuck is just going to keep transferring.
At the very least, A&M, they got the cash. There's no worry on that.
Oh, they got the cash. They sent $75 million about the Jimbo fucking Fisher, for God's sake. The bank needs to replenish a little bit. And I could say a joke, but I'm not going to. I tried to stay away from the political side of things. Anyway.
Without having to sell nuclear secrets to Qatar.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
What the was that?
Bad. Fucking bad. Now, moving on.
Sorry.
You're fine. I forgive you. Moving on to our next topic.
It does explain where all that money comes from.
Intermission, because we're past the hour mark, and I just kind of want to take some noise and feedback from the live audience and attendance. I'm sure you guys are having a good time. Fire away in the chat real quick. Let me know what you want to talk about. We are going to get to LSU USC here in a second, but go ahead.
This is actually a good spot for me because I need to take a quick 3-minute break or 5-minute break.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go.
You answer questions and all that stuff. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm going to answer questions for a little bit, guys. This is the part of the show where we take a breather while Akbar needs to take a piss or whatever the fuck he's doing. TJ Finley left A&M too. Yeah, he's at I think he was at Texas State last year. I mean, transferred again. I can't remember off the top of my head where he went to because they picked up Jordan McLeod from James Madison. Really goddamn good quarterback. He's a fucking cheat code last season. And they let him walk. Reminds me when Joe Burrow went to Ohio State. Anyway, keep it coming. Overreactions. USC is built for the Big Ten. No, they're fucking not. Let's pump the brakes. Oh, wait. This is one. I should have put this in the list of topics. I think we're going to hit on this a little more when Akbar gets back. We need to talk about Oregon. Holy fuck. Oregon, please do good. Do not let Idaho game be an indicative of the rest of the season. I need to lord over Red and Ohio State, God damn it. Yeah, you can lord over this shit, motherfucker. What else was there? Tennessee feels like they will play NC State and the game will be over by the third quarter. We'll see. NC State is going to be a tough team to put away. I don't think it's going to be a situation where we'll get to the third quarter and it's going to be like a 28-point lead or any of that bullshit. I think it's going to be, I think Tennessee pulls away late, but like it's going to be a 2-touchdown, I think, win at minimum, or at most, I should say. At most, it'll be a 2-touchdown win. Salty Wings and Nabs was disappointed. Alan Nadeau, fuck you again. Good sir. Fuck you again. We'll see you in October, big boy. What else, guys? Keep it coming. I need to fill time before Akbar gets back here. And Alan's having a complete ducky, quack, shucky moment. I don't see NC State being able to keep up with Tennessee at all. We'll see. Thoughts on Indiana in the SIG era so far? That is to be determined. Beating up on Indiana State is hardly indicative of what your season is going to be. And Akbar, you're back just in time. I failed to add.
State. I feel so bad the Indiana State didn't make the March Madness earlier this year.
That was a shame, wasn't it? That was a damn shame.
Oh, who was that? Yeah.
I was going to ask you.
Was it Larry Nerd or something? That one kid from Indiana State that they were saying like it was the next Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. Yeah, I think that was him. Yeah. I do want to touch base on one thing real quick because I forgot to include it. Thoughts on Oregon after last weekend? We completely forgot to include that in the show. That got brought up, and Alan Nadeau is seething over here like he's got rabies.
Oh, you say Nadeau? I think Alan, isn't it pronounced Nadeau like Jerry Nadeau?
I don't know. I call him Nadeau because I love him. And he's a good friend of mine, and it pushes his buttons, just like everybody else with their two tight ends bullshit. Continue.
Oh my gosh, Oregon! Yeah, that was
what the fuck?
That was crazy to watch. I'm just like seeing man, we were having a lot of close ones. I mean, Texas. I mean, well, it's Texas Tech. I mean, they haven't really been the same since Mahomes left, and oh yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, that's
there you go.
Okay, but yeah, no, like Texas Tech nearly lost to Abilene Christian, which only lost because they decided to go for 2. Which I'm like, might as well, because it's like, what are you playing for? You're just playing for the upset. It's not like you're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, you already got paid the money, and you're taking these guys to the fucking limit. You might as well go for the win.
Yeah, that was a pity, but whatever. But anyways, yeah, we Oregon just. I don't know if Idaho has a decent team, or if Oregon just really was just so rusty.
I hope for their sake it's rust. Otherwise, a very well seasoned Ohio State team will beat the piss out of them in a few weeks.
They won't even be a challenge for Ohio State. I think the biggest challenge will either be just Michigan again, or maybe they're going to probably be Penn State. I mean, Franklin ain't doing.
What I will say is the only thing that's got me saying don't write off on Oregon yet is what Matt's saying right there. Dillon Gabriel. To answer another question earlier, I think he is going to win the Heisman. I genuinely think he's going to win the Heisman, Dillon Gabriel. He is a really goddamn good quarterback. He showed out. Cam Ward will be close, the quarterback from Miami. I think it's going to be between Cam Ward and Dillon Gabriel. I think Gabriel will get the edge.
How'd that Ole Miss guy do?
Jackson Dart, he'll be around. I think he'll be in the running, but I don't think he's going to win it. I don't think he's not on that level. Cam Ward showed me a lot, but I think consistency-wise, I think Dillon Gabriel will get the Heisman. And his body of work in UCF, Oklahoma, now Oregon, I think he'll do well. But what Alan is saying right here, he's going to chalk it up to Idaho being a top FCS team playing down in competition. Dillon Gabriel needs to continue to gel with his offense. That's a fair and balanced take by a very rabid Oregon fan. I appreciate it, Alan. Matt's is saying how he doesn't think that Gabriel was the issue. It was more of an everything else seemed to be the problem.
That's what I heard.
I think you're right. That's a good way to explain it. Look, it's not this one hole in the ship that's leaking. We plugged it. It's the fucking gash made by the iceberg that's the problem. Oh man, I think Oregon will be fine. If I was a Ducks fan, I wouldn't panic yet. I'll chalk it up to just rust and trying to gel a new quarterback into the system and just a few other bullshit things.
Who do they play next?
Nothing. Great question. Survey says they are playing Boise State. We talked about this before the stream. They got to go now. Yeah, it's at home, but they got to play Ashton fucking Genty, the running back that will be also in the running for the Heisman, after he went on for 6 fucking touchdowns against Georgia Southern. He's coming to Eugene to play against them for Big Ten After Dark on Peacock Saturday night. Ashton Genty is a hoss. He is a fucking hoss.
That is going to be. Oh man, if Oregon doesn't take care of business with Boise, oh geez, like I said before, the Big Ten, that's pretty much just Ohio State's got that pretty much almost locked.
Well,
depending on what happens.
Penn State. I know I gave Penn State a lot of criticism in my Big Ten review. They did take care of business against West Virginia. They looked good. I think that's not going to be a terrible I think it's going to be a challenge for Oregon, that's for sure. But, Alan, I'm going to say this. I'm not worried about their pass game. I'm not worried about Oregon's pass game. It's Ashton Genty, the running back, we got to worry about there, bud.
I was going to say, Penn State, though, it's James Franklin. He has not done anything with Penn State since he's arrived and all that stuff. He gets them like a 10-win skit. He gets them 10 wins, but they always lose to Ohio State and freaking Michigan.
Keep in mind, they had to survive a near-death penalty like punishment after the you-know-what scandal that I'm not going to repeat on this video. So they've had to rebuild they've had to do a lot over the last decade. I'm going to give Penn State the benefit of the doubt in the sense that they did extremely well against West Virginia, and they're not going to be an easy game to put away. But if Oregon does somehow fall to Boise State, the conference is Ohio State's to lose at that point. You're right about that. USC could be a problem, and we're going to get into that right now. Because guess what they did? They finally won a fucking kickoff game.
Yeah, because LSU freaking blew it because Brian Kelly decided not to take points at the start of the game. I mean, I honestly thought when that first drive, when LSU was driving down the field, I thought, okay, once again, Lincoln's got a terrible defense. They're going to get absolutely steamrolled tonight. And then basically it's just like, okay, LSU will probably have this thing won by the third quarter at the very least. And they decided to go for it on fourth down instead of just kicking a quick, easy field goal. Look, I get it. At the start of the game, you want to kind of take advantage, especially with considering how easy you were driving down the field before. Honestly, part of me would have been kind of like in that same mindset of just like, okay, let's just try to go for it because let's just try to run the score up fast here because it's like they barely were able to stop us. I can't remember how that first drive ended when they were in the goal territory. Did they beat themselves on that part, or was that just USC's defense?
So I covered that game from start to finish on my solo stream on Sunday night, and that was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody that showed up to watch that game. That was a good time to have. I covered that game on my commentary stream. They went for it on 4th and goal inside the 5 and failed. USC stalled them out right then and there. The name of the game, that necessarily didn't really set the tone. More so that LSU shot themselves in the foot with untimely penalties, a lot of personal fouls.
What is it with the SEC doing these dumbass mistakes? They get them freaking unnecessary.
Careful. You were just finally becoming an SEC dick sucker to start the stream, and now you're regressing. We got to keep that gravy train rolling, man. You're an Oklahoma fan, for God's sake. You got to be sucking that SEC dick all day long. Come on, man. You know better. This is the law.
I'm just saying. It was like the 15-yard penalties. It was what is the penalty called? Like
unnecessary roughness, targeting, personal fouls, roughing the passer.
Excessive celebration. Excessive
celebrating, yeah.
Yeah, the one dude, like LSU scored a touchdown, and then he decided to do like the shotgun blasting of like pointing.
Yeah, he did a shotgun blast at the USC players, and they got flagged for that. And then USC was able to drive down the field.
And that led to a kickoff that USC drove past the 50 on the kickoff return.
Yep.
And then I forget how that.
They got a touchdown.
Did that end in a touchdown?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, and then a little later, when they got that turnover on downs, when USC decided to go for it instead of maybe trying to kick a field goal at least. Again, the one dude takes off his helmet and he's right when they get the stop, and I'm just like, this conference keeps making the same dumb mistakes. It's either Ole Miss pretending to pee in the end zone like a dog, or Florida throwing the shoe.
Yeah, a la Iraq and George Bush. Now, I'm going to say this about LSU. You're all fucked. As Alan mentioned earlier in the stream, John Emery Jr., one of their star running backs, is now out for the season with a torn ACL. That is not good, especially when they got down late to the game. He was a big reason LSU was able to hang in there. But I tell you what, man, the biggest thing that killed LSU, honestly, was penalties. They did everything else right, Everything else was
Except that
fine,
last drive.
except for that last drive.
And I'm in on offense. When they got into
Oh,
the field goal range, but it was like after the 2-minute warning, they decided to throw it 2 times on 2nd and 3rd down. I would have ran it. I would have at least ran it. Just to say, hey, maybe we can get the first down. Maybe we can get in the end zone on a run. If not, we've run down the clock. Now USC has no timeout. Might not have no timeouts. And we tie it up, and we can at least take this thing to overtime, and we can reset and go to overtime. No, they threw it 2 times, which means USC keeps the timeout and gives them almost a full 2 minutes to drive down the field and end up scoring the touchdown. And again, this whole situation, if Brian Kelly had taken the points earlier, it might have been a 23-20 game at that point. Which meant that
changed the entire would have changed the way that USC's offense approached that pivotal drive. Would have completely changed it. May have been the same result.
That drive that was the guy that took off his helmet and all that stuff. That was a 3 that turned into a 3 and out. But it's like, would it have been a 3 and out if they were further down the field? That's the thing. If they were further down the field. That might not have been a 3 and out drive.
Could change it. You're right. I want to share a couple of stats from this game because I want to reinforce this point that I don't think as a team, personnel-wise, they played bad. Their quarterback, LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, 87.6 QBR. He went 30 for 39 on 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. He threw an interception late in the game, which sealed it. Okay. Kyron Lacey, their wide receiver, 7 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Anderson, 5 catches, 64 yards and a touchdown. John Emery Jr., who's hurt now, rushed for 10 carries for 61 yards. John Williams and Caleb Jackson are also very good options at running back, so they're not totally screwed there. But they have all their great players like Mason Taylor, their tight end, Xavier Thomas, C.J. Daniels. This team is stacked with talent on offense. And their defense is really good too. But you look at USC's numbers, and immediately something becomes very clear. Miller Moss, 27 for 36, 378 yards, and a touchdown. Woody Marks,
same issue that plagued LSU
for
last
68,
year.
2 touchdowns. Kyron Hudson,
last year.
5 catches, 83 yards. Zachariah Branch, 4 catches, 56 yards. Lake McRae, their tight end, 5 for 56. Jacoby Lane made by the way, Kyron Hudson's fucking OBJ catch. That's when I knew, okay, USC might actually win this fucking game. The one-handed snag a la OBJ. Caleb Williams said it all. He's fucking nuts. He went crazy. And that moment right there kind of told the story of how that game was probably going to go.
It just shows that Brian Kelly has done little to improve this team ever since who was their last coach they got rid of?
Orgeron.
Go time.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, just I don't know
Which
why.
I honestly don't understand. I don't understand why they did. Frankly, they had a bad season after he had a couple bad seasons, but there you go.
Didn't they fire him when did they fire him? Hang on. Let me see.
They fired him in 22, I think. Notre Dame.
21 season.
Yeah, they fired him in 21. He came over, and then Kelly came over from Notre Dame in 22.
Yeah, they fired him after the COVID. Look, the COVID season was just completely weird to begin with, but also the fact that all your talent just graduated and all that stuff. But I'm just like, but it's just like it's absolutely crazy that they got rid of Orgeron. He was doing fine. He got him a national title. He just needed a few rebuilding years, but they didn't give that to him. And then they turned around and go to Chip Kelly, who came back from. What was he doing before he went to LSU? I gotta look this up. I should have been looking up some of this stuff. What was his? What was he caught? Okay, let's see. What was he doing? He went. Okay, he did Oregon, then he went for that stint with the Eagles, then he was 49ers for a year, then nothing, then UCLA, and then wait. I am so sorry. I am completely off here. He's your offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. I'm sorry. Oh, geez, that's embarrassing. Oh my gosh, who is the LSU coach? I've been so wrong this whole time. Brian Kelly. Okay, Brian Kelly. My mistake. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Well, how many coaches do you know, prolific head coaches that have the last name Kelly? They're coaching around this time?
2. One of them is the offensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Exactly. That was my reason I was thinking. Yeah, he was at Notre Dame prior. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
he was at Notre Dame for over a decade. Point being
kept
is
getting
this.
him to getting him to championship and playoff games, but then kept getting absolutely blown out.
Thank you for joining us, Matt. It was a pleasure having you. What I'm going to say is when it comes to LSU, they just got to get disciplined. If they had their discipline, they kept their shit together and not being stupid, that game could have been easily won by LSU, straight up.
Totally.
But they didn't, and that's why they lost. So I think that's about all I have for that.
And then wait, were you seeing like the post game stuff with Brian Kelly? It's just like, oh my gosh, he is
just
clearly
threw
the
a
problem.
temper tantrum. It's hard to say from the outside if who's the problem or not. I think he's definitely about. I think the stresses of NIL, because he's been around. He was at Notre Dame for over a decade. He came from UC, and then Notre Dame hired him. I wouldn't say necessarily he was the problem, but I think definitely he didn't help the situation or the perception either. We're gonna go ahead and jump to the next topic real quick here because I did want to touch base on Colorado.
Oh yeah, that game.
Yeah, are they pretenders or are they actually going to be fine?
Who knows on that one? All I know is that Dion nearly blew it because he has a what is his son's name again?
Shador.
Yeah, Dion. I don't want to mispronounce it, so I'm just gonna say his son, quarterback, decided to throw on that first down like after the 2 minute when North Dakota didn't have any timeouts or something. It's like, why are you not just taking the knee or just running the ball? Oh my gosh. And then they ended up having to punt it. And then North Dakota actually managed to drive down the field enough to basically almost win the dang game.
Yeah. I'm just going to say quickly, I didn't watch this game. I was watching Minnesota against North Carolina because it was the only FBS versus FBS game on that night last week. But from everything I saw and I was able to see, I think they're still frauds. Like Salty Wings fans saying below me, they just need a defense. They need to find a defense. Travis Hunter is not the answer for everything. He's not a cure-all. You need to do a lot more work. And Colorado is could they be bowlers this season? I could see it, but I'm also not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I could see it because now they're playing the Big 12 again.
Yeah. And
the Big 12's got some teams that are, pretty struggling. Hang on, let me see what their schedule is. Okay, they got the Nebraska game coming up, which who knows with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Let's see, Colorado football schedule. Let's see. Yeah, they got. Okay, so they got Nebraska, then Colorado State. They got absolutely annihilated by Texas. By the way, Manning got his first touchdown. Oh my gosh! I quick little tangent for a second. Were you watching the Fansville commercials?
Yeah, here and there.
Dude, Quinn Ewers, he is a terrible actor. I don't know why they got him.
Oh, are you kidding? Yeah, he's only there for the NIL money. Are you kidding me?
I know, but I'm just like, couldn't they I'm trying to remember.
Yeah,
I think didn't they have Caleb Williams last year or something?
Yeah, they did. Williams also did Wendy's commercial too.
Yeah, but Caleb, he was fine. I mean, obviously he's not like some thespian, but I'm just saying
he went to USC. That's in the middle of Hollywood.
Yeah, but Caleb, he was fine in the Fanville commercials and all that stuff. He was doing all right. Quinn Ewers though, he's just like.
Yeah, I hear you.
That was. But anyways, yeah, okay. Colorado State, so that might be a win for Colorado. Then it's Baylor, UCF. They got to play Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. Ooh, that might be difficult. That might be a 6-6 record for them. But I definitely know.
6-6 is enough.
6-6 is enough, but I don't think that's what Colorado truly wants, though. That's the thing.
No, but they need progress. You went from 1-11 to 4-8. The next logical step is getting to a bowl game. If you do that, everybody can say he's moving the team in the right direction. And that's ultimately what fucking matters. You just got to keep moving that team in the right direction. You have a long way to rebuild. You completely start a new team from scratch with no depth. What do you got to do? You need to get a couple of recruiting classes underneath you, build up that depth, build up that experience, get everybody to buy into the message you're selling them. And then by year 3, especially year 4, you're fucking locked. You're loaded. You're winning games. You're a conference competitor again. The hype is there, but the skill just isn't. 6-6 is possible, but it's going to be very, very difficult for them.
I'm finding that somewhat a little hard to believe, considering the well publicized trouble that Colorado's been having behind the scenes, of just like everybody having to attend Dion's kid like karaoke or something. Did I hear that one right?
I haven't heard. I don't follow the drama llama bullshit from behind the scenes of college football. I pretty much focus on what's on the field. And what is on the field? Week 2, a whole lot of nothing, frankly.
We got some
good. We got some good ones. Okay, so let me go ahead and just kind of point out what we're looking at coming into week 2.
Obviously, Texas at Michigan. Texas is going to Ann Arbor.
That is game of the week. That is, nobody is not going to talk about that game. That is the game of this week, the game of the early season, Texas against Michigan. Is Texas good enough to still be Texas that they were last season? Is Michigan still, despite being torn down with a new head coach, are they going to be able to compete against Texas? It's in the big house. It's at high noon in Ann Arbor. I think Texas is going to win, frankly.
Probably.
I don't see how Michigan comes out of this one alive.
Okay, and then we also got Arkansas that goes to Oklahoma State, and it remains to see. But Arkansas, they balled. They took them to Hog City.
Yeah,
I mean, again,
Arkansas looked good against Pine Bluff, sure.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was Pine Bluff. This week we got a couple of teams that played like big games last week. They're playing now those their Division II. They're one Division
FCS
II
games. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the Battle of Iowa between Iowa State and Iowa.
We got Kansas State. We got Kansas State going to Tulane. That might because as an Oklahoma fan, we've been talking about like watch out for the Tulane game. That might be a trap game.
And Salty, to answer your question, why is Texas Michigan a noon game? Simple. Fox contract. They get dibs on.
And that's one of the things that might cause Texas to struggle, because that's one of those things like why they wanted to leave. I mean, I know my dad, who's a huge OU fan, was like always complaining like, why the freak is Oklahoma having to play at noon or freaking 11 in the morning? Why are they having to play so early? Like so many of their games, you know? And it's just like, well, now that shouldn't be that much of a problem in the SEC now. You're not going to be playing early.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be playing early, no. You'll be playing a lot of night games as long as you're playing games that matter. That's the thing. I wish that Ohio State and Michigan played at night every year, but I get the tradition of it playing in the afternoon. This is a situation where it's like, well, Fox can't broadcast primetime games because it's still got baseball going on for a few more weeks. So this is where they can kind of take their piece of the television pie and get a big game at 12 o'clock. But it's not the only big game going on that day. Like I said, they got the Battle of Iowa on CBS. You also got the Dukes Mayo Classic in Charlotte, NC State with a de facto home game taking on Tennessee.
That might be a good one, or that might be depending on if it, again, North Carolina State, the West Carolina game, that might have just been rust sort of situation. North Carolina State might have shaken it off, and it might, or they were just, or it was more of a case of just like, okay, we didn't really prepare for this first game because we're looking forward to like next week. We're focused on the upcoming Tennessee game. Let's see. We also got we got some early conference play games, like with the Big 12, Baylor going to Utah. We got California playing going to Auburn. We got South Carolina playing Kentucky, which I'm guessing. I don't know. South Carolina, they just managed to escape against that Old Dominion game, but who knows? Again, like I said, might have been trap game sort of situation. They're more looking forward to the next thing. We got let's see who else. There was another good game on here somewhere.
Yeah, there's going to be a potential to see the Giant Killers back in action. App State's taking on Clemson at prime time on ACC Network. So the Giant Killers could strike. And
depending on the weather, South Florida might give Alabama trouble again.
Yeah, probably not, but we'll see. It's in Alabama this time. I still can't believe last season Alabama about died in South Florida. That was insane. And the final game that I really want to hit home is the game we mentioned earlier, Boise State, National Gentry taking on Oregon in some Big Ten After Dark on Peacock. That's going to be a good one.
That'll probably be, that'll definitely be a good game. But
absolutely.
Like I said, it depends on what happens. Because Boise State is apparently right now is still technically considered the favorite of the group of five spot for the playoff.
I picked them to be a national championship contender just because they'll be able. I thought they were going to be able to get in as the 12 seed in the playoffs, and be the group of 5 entrant.
That brings up the question though. Notre Dame though.
Notre Dame. Here's the thing. Notre Dame kind of isn't considered a group of 5. They're just an independent. So then they're the only independent in college football after this. Well, they're not the only independent in college football. I'm sorry. It's them, UMass, and UConn. But they're the only independent in college football that actually matters.
Yeah.
And if they're in the top 12, they're going to be in the playoff.
Yeah, no.
Especially if they're undefeated or they only have one win against a good team.
Oh, my God. I tell you what, though, if Notre Dame ran the table, if they had somehow imagine in a crazy universe that, like, say, Georgia, like a couple of the teams that are like the conference champions, they all lose, like they get 1 or 2 losses.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame runs the table and goes undefeated. At best, they're going to only still be a 5 seed.
Yep, because they don't have a conference championship.
If that scenario happened, and especially if they got knocked out of the playoff or something, because they win the first round, but then they go play a team that had rested and been preparing for them and all that stuff, and they lose that one pretty bad. Do you think that will push Notre Dame to finally say, okay, to hell with it, we're finally joining a dang conference, we're going to stick in a dang conference just to make sure we get like the 1 seed or something now?
Yes.
So we can get that week bye.
Yes, it's not going to be as automatic as that, but yes, that's the only way Notre Dame joins a conference is if the fact that they could go undefeated in a season and have to play one more game than everybody else despite that, and it could cost them a chance at a national championship. Yes, that is what would push them to join a football conference. Now, the question would become, do they fully partner up with the ACC at that point? And I don't think that's as easy of an answer as you think, because as we all know, the titanic struggle of realignment is far from over, because the ACC is being sued by a couple of teams right now over the grant of rights. And if those go through and those teams do fuck off, you can bet your ass.
The ACC is looking like it's going to Big East itself.
It could Big East itself. You're absolutely right, but we'll see. It's too early to say. The big thing right now is this: the SEC and the Big Ten, which are the only 2 players in this alignment right now that could do some damage. They're not taking any more teams because they understand, just like everybody else understands, we don't need any more fucking chaos right now. We need everything to settle down. We need to figure out, okay, how is this 12-team playoff actually going to work? Is this going to be sufficient for the future of the game? Are we going to expand to 16 at some point in a couple years because of the success of the 12, or are we going to have to park it at 12 and then figure out what the fuck's going to happen to Notre Dame in their situation if they remain staunchly independent? There is a lot to consider here, and there is not an easy answer right now. It's going to take time. You're going to need some precedents to be set with this new playoff before anything of major significance gets squared away.
I'm just kind of waiting for the inevitable, like they push it to where it's 25 teams, all top 25 AP poll, 25 and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how you would fully work that out and all that stuff. Maybe kind of do it like a situation of like what the NFL's done recently with the 1 seed being the only team that gets a bye or something, just like arrange it like that. But honestly, yeah, 12 teams right now. We still got to wait and see on that one and see how, especially the chaos in that one, because we're probably going to get some BS towards the end of this thing about like somebody getting left out for some bullcrap reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I can tell you this right now. I don't think we're going to have a Notre Dame rule. I don't think we're going to have that in the playoffs. They're not going to be given that special treatment or anything like that. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for this week. So, Akbar, I want to say thank you again for joining me on this stream tonight. It has been a lot of fun. It has been a pleasure to, do this with you. I mean, it's good to be back in football season, man.
Yes and no. More or less, I'm basically trying to avoid mostly Oklahoma just to preserve my heart.
Yeah,
and my mental health.
I absolutely understand. So once again, guys, that's been the show. Reminder, on Friday night, we are going to be back here on my YouTube channel. We're going to be live streaming and doing commentary for the for the game between Northwestern and Duke. We're going to cover Northwestern and Duke at 9 o'clock on Friday night. And then Saturday, we're going to have a doubleheader on the YouTube channel. Obviously, we're going to be doing commentary for Texas against Michigan at noon. And then we are going to be doing commentary for Tennessee against NC State. I really am excited to see what this weekend brings for us. But for now, this has been Akbar. I've been Red. Thanks again for joining us tonight. And have a very good rest of your week. Take care, guys. Appreciate you guys.